I'd love for you to kick off by just introducing yourself and where you are right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm Karen and I am in Allen, Texas right now.
Oh,
I have got a husband. We've been married we were married in 2002, and we've got two girls. One's a senior in high school. She's in 12th grade and just got accepted to the university she wants to go to this week. Yeah,
fantastic.
super fun. And doing homecoming and all of that. And then I've got a ninth grader, a freshman in
Uh-huh.
high school. And so that's us.
Amazing. And obviously, we're talking today because you've traveled with Serendipity Adventures more than once.
Yes.
So I would love to go back to when you first heard about Serendipity. Like, how did you find us? What was that first experience like?
So I was trying to remember exactly because it was 1999. So
Yeah.
the internet was not a robust place that was, you know what I mean? It wasn't,
Sure.
it just was not. So I think I found through some kind of online search, but if
Yeah.
I remember correctly, I mailed off and I got a paper, like photocopied kind of catalog
Amazing.
of what, and I think that was our first. So when I graduated college in 99, and my parents were like, what do you want for graduation? And I'm an only child, so it's just the three of us.
Yeah.
And I said, I just want to plan a trip. I want to plan the family trip. And I had always wanted to go to Costa Rica. That had been, I just had never seen the rainforest and just wanted to see what is a rainforest.
Yeah.
Um, and so somehow, I mean, that's the best that I can remember.
Mhm.
And then we got the little paper catalog, and like I remember circling we want to do hot air ballooning, we want to do, and then we worked with, I don't remember who, but at the time, but we worked back and forth. And actually, when we went this last time, we dug out, my mom still had the old original like itinerary. She's a paper
Amazing.
keeper. So yeah, so that was our first thing. It was a college graduation present, and
A great way to celebrate the graduation, right?
yeah, yeah. So that was our first, or that was how we found out. That's the best that I can remember.
Yeah, of course. And how much of the trip do you remember? Is it quite sort of clear in your mind? Like, what
Oh,
did
very.
the itinerary like?
Yeah, no, it's very crystal clear. So we had, I think just because we were three,
Yeah.
we had an extra spot in the room. So
Mhm.
we had Felipe and not Charlotte. Why my brain just went blank. But she had guided
Uh-huh.
with Serendipity before, had
Oh,
left, and then was coming back. And so then they were kind of like, there were five of us. So it
yeah.
was really fun. We had two guides and three of us. Like, can you
Wow.
get better numbers than that? And so
Yeah,
yeah,
that's dedicated.
right. I mean, yeah. So why am I blanking on her name? I know, I mean, like I see her face, I can hear her voice.
It will
Anyways,
pop into your head.
it will.
Yeah.
So no, they, picked us up, and it was just really cool. I think the two trips, you can definitely tell how much more developed the country is. I mean, it's
Sure.
the same thing. In 1999 in Allen, Texas was way different than it is now. But it was just kind of like off we headed across the country in this, all-terrain vehicle, and we went and we did hiking, and we went to see the volcano, and it was active, had dinner at night down at the bottom of it, and got to see the lava coming down. It was
Oh my
really
goodness.
beautiful. We did the hot springs that were around it. We did hot air ballooning. We did rappelling, the going down the Pequari. That was
Yeah.
probably the highlight of
Oh yeah.
that trip, and probably this trip too.
Love the
Um,
coloring. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, it's and also I think because it was a very specific time in my life, I was getting
Oh
ready to go be a grown up. So,
yeah, kind of like stepping into the world almost.
oh, very much so.
Oh,
And
it's spirit.
yeah, and it was kind of the beginning, I feel like, back then, of the kind of eco adventure tourism becoming more popular.
Yeah.
And so I think that it was also a trip, and even still, this trip is a trip that most of my kids' friends, they haven't done something like this. If they go to Costa Rica, they go to an all inclusive. And they
Yeah.
might have like one little excursion,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
but it's not like immersive in the country and in the nature and so I think that that's what's different about this trip and was different about that. It's the same thing that was different back then as it is now.
Yeah. And so was that part of what motivated you to come back with your kids,
Oh,
years?
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I mean, my husband and I have always talked about, I'm like, we're going to do this once the kids are old enough and can remember it. We
Uh-huh.
don't, we're not fancy people. The one place that we will spend money though is travel, just because I
So,
feel like it changes you at
mhm.
who you are as a person, your perspective. It makes you a better person. And I don't fancy shoes don't make me a better person. They don't make my kids a better person, but I feel like immersing them in a different culture and seeing that the world we're more alike than we are different
Mhm.
and making the world not be a scary place is just very important to us. And so we we sat down at one point and wrote out, because we're nerds, we wrote out our kids' ages
Yeah.
at their spring break and their summer and what grade they were going to be in and what they'd be studying in school. And
Uh,
then we mapped out our trips of what we were going to take kind of based on what do we want them to leave our house having seen, having done.
yep, yep, yep.
And that's how COVID kind of threw a monkey wrench in it, but that was fine. We, adjusted.
Oh,
So
so
but
it's
yeah, that
a long time coming by the sounds of it, and
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You're
Yeah, I
just
was like, if we're going to Costa Rica, this is how we're doing it. Or,
yeah. Oh, that's so great to hear. And I would love to hear, did it match your expectations the second time around? Like, what was the highlight of the second trip? Was it Pequare, or were there other little moments that you thought, were really what you'd imagined?
I mean, I think all of it.
Yeah.
I go back to because I was going over that in my brain of like what was the best. And I think that in general, whenever you ask us what's your favorite vacation, well, it's kind of like saying who's your favorite kid. I love
You can't choose.
Yeah, I mean, because you love different parts of the trip for different reasons. Like you could say, well, that's my favorite because of this, or that's my favorite because of that. I mean, the day that we did climb Joseph, and oh my
Oh,
gosh, it was raining and we were slogging through. I mean, and and then it rained and we were all huddled under this tarp eating our lunch. And
mm,
that had its own like you think, okay, that was crazy. And why would you say that was your favorite? But because then the laughs and stuff that came from
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that, and for us, when we sit around and talk about it, most of the conversation is about the people that
Mhm.
we met. And that's the piece of it that I feel like we take home. So you
Yeah.
also go, well, what's your favorite? Well, just riding in the car and us all talking about, with Sergio, we created a whole cult. We had marketing, how we were going to get, converts. I mean, it was like things like that of just being silly. So
Yeah.
I think that's also you like, okay, well, that's my favorite too. Or there was, so I think that that's,
Yeah. It's surprising, isn't it? You get home and those moments where you're all huddled under the tarp and it's pouring down with rain and you just like think back and think, do you remember that time? Do
yeah,
you remember that time where we were soaked through wet and
yeah,
we still were loving life? And yeah,
yeah,
it's just like
yeah.
so special. I love that. And I think we've already touched on this a little bit, but so serendipity is obviously quite different to other maybe more typical vacations, as it were. Like in your opinion, like how are we different from maybe some other travel companies that you've had experiences with?
Well, I think it's just still very much has like a small boutique feel
Yeah.
to it. And I like that. I feel like the people that even from just the very beginning planning, you get to know them just as humans. It's
Yeah.
not you're not just a number of, okay, and here's our set itinerary and this is what you're going to do, and you don't really vary from that. So I think that from the beginning of it, I like it because they really listen to who you are as a family, what's important. And I felt like even Sergio was specifically picked for us, like that. So us as a family, we were gotten to, y'all knew us well enough to know, okay, this is the type of guide that they need and that someone's going to cut up. And I mean, from the moment, and so then I think the chemistry of the guide then just amplifies the whole experience. So that like matchmaking piece of it, I feel like is such an important piece because your guide you can have a great trip.
Yeah.
But when it just weaves itself into the fabric of who you are, I feel like that comes from the guide.
Yeah.
And then that the language and the jokes and the what you have at home that you bring home. So I think that to me, I would say, we've done cool things, we've done adventures, but kind of just the very beginning of it. And then it just sets it off to be a great experience for the rest of the time. And that it's just you. There's no waiting in lines. And if you're driving along and you're like, hey, what's that roadside stand? I don't know. And off you go. And now you're looking.
Yep. 100% serendipity. Just like, oh, you want to go check that out? Let's go.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I want a snack. I want to, whatever y'all normally have. Okay, let's go off and find that, And so I think that, and it's, with local people and you just have being able to make changes on the fly. Is nice. And so I think that, I don't know if that was a good answer or not, or if that answered the question.
That's a great answer because that's what we try and do. So that's perfect. Clearly Sergio is a big part of the trip for you. And you were telling me before like how he feels like almost part of the family to you. So I mean, I'd love to just touch upon that again and just hear more about like the part he played in making this such a memorable experience for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I feel the same way about Felipe back in 1999 that I think we were saying earlier, when you go on these trips, there is one Costa Rica for our family. That happened one time, and that will be, we will never be that age at that space with our kids, that moment in time. And so for us, I think that it becomes bigger. You know what I mean? It's bigger than just the parts of it. The sum of the parts is so much bigger than just that week and a half, 2 weeks. For the guides, they're doing this every day. They have a new family. And so I think that, but somehow they're able to make it seem like you're the only family in the world, and that you're the best. Because they were always like, we were your favorite family, right? We're the most fun you've ever had on the trip, right? And they make you feel that way. So whether we were the most fun, I don't know. We were. But
yeah,
sure. But that we still talk about Sergio. I mean, he is just a part of our family, and that becomes it's just part of our fabric and family lore. And Annabelle there was a scary doll that we saw. And so even that, like those sorts of family jokes that just, I think really, the guide and who the guide is, it's that glue that then creates those bonds that then you're just, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just meant to be. It was a special moment in time, and it's something that we won't ever lose,
Yeah, that's beautiful. And they make you feel like a VIP essentially.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's amazing. And just Costa Rica in general, like there's so much to sum up about maybe what you love about it. But I would just love to hear kind of why Costa Rica is so special to you.
I just think it's such a cool country. The people are kind. They have pride in their country. I love what they have done with we're not going to have a military, we're going to put it in education. And so their literacy rate, when you, I mean, just very well educated.
Yeah.
It's just the country in and of itself, I think, is a cool country. Obviously the natural beauty, they have everything, and
Oh,
it's so unique. And we just happened, so the place, after Sergio left us at the little beach town that we were in, we were all feeling very sad because you kind of go through this mourning process of like, oh no, now we have to break up. And what do you
yeah.
mean? Awful. And so then we had that, we didn't know, but my husband and I were out swimming that night, just in the little whatever part of the ocean. And I was like, wait, is this bioluminescence? And it ended up, we were like, the whole
Oh my
area was full on bioluminescence. So then the next night we made our kids stay up, and it was like this country, you know what I mean? It's like
God.
that kind of magical,
Yeah.
then you're swimming around and you're like, look at me, I'm sparkling.
It's like surprises at every moment, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah. And I
goodness.
mean,
I'm so
just,
jealous.
yeah, it
I
was
knew
so,
that.
it really was so cool. And so then the next night we were like, y'all, no, just come on, come get in the water. And we didn't really, and then they saw it and they were like, oh, like, yeah, this is why you have to stay up and come hang out with your parents for even longer. So,
So special. Yeah, I think you've summed it up amazingly. Especially the pride of the people as well, where
mhm.
tomorrow is Independence Day.
Oh,
And
is it
yeah,
cool?
so everywhere you go at the moment, there are flags, there's music, and everyone is just so proud of their country and everything
Mhm.
that it stands for. So yeah, I think you touched upon that really well.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's really neat what they've done
yeah,
with
100%.
them in the education. I just feel like we probably have a lot to learn in other ways, from that country.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, just to kind of finish up our conversation, I've really enjoyed it. What would be your advice to someone thinking about a vacation to Costa Rica? Maybe they're not sure, or yeah, like what would your advice be to them?
Um, I mean, my advice would be, if you're thinking about it, then yes, serendipity is the way to do. I mean, if you want an immersive experience,
Yeah.
you're not going to get the, I mean, and maybe you would. Well, we didn't want the kind of sit at a place and just lounge. And I'm sure if you did, y'all would work that into it, because y'all work
Yeah.
everything you want into it.
Like,
But if you're the kind of person who wants to really immerse yourself in the culture, in the people, in the food, in all the natural beauty, then I, I don't know how else you could do it than the way y'all do it.
mhm.
Because you're in your own vehicle and you're truly having a 100% tailor-made vacation. So just, yes, go do it with serendipity, like just say yes. But then I think just go in with an open heart and an
Yeah.
open mind, because not everything is going to go as planned, but in those not go as planned, then you find there always ends up being some cool magical moments in that too.
Yeah.
um, and that we just really 100% put our trust in Sergio and felt completely taken care of. We felt like whatever happens, he's going to figure it out. And so just knowing, like, you're going to have a great time no matter
Yeah.
if, if it goes according to plan or not, because you're just taken care of. So I don't know if that's.
That's so great and so important to say, because we can control things as much as as much as possible, but Mother Nature gets in the way, or
Right. I mean,
there's-
there were kind of crazy rains when we were there. And like at the Pequari River, they had to close like right after we went down. I mean, and I feel like we were kind of always skirting things. And I think Sergio was probably doing a whole lot in the background that we had no idea was actually going on. But
right,
okay, this road is closed because of a mudslide. But he never,
it's never let on.
no. And so it was like, we didn't have to have those worries. We were able to just purely enjoy our vacation, and not have to have we had someone else to figure out all the problems and we could just enjoy. And so I think that's what's nice about it.
Yeah. Couldn't say, couldn't put it any better than what you've just said. I'm going to stop the recording now so you can breathe.
Okay.